Normally what will happen is they'll say, well, maybe we should talk to a professional. A professional maybe has some more robust information that they can help us with. So they go seek out a professional, either at a major firm or somebody that was recommended to them. But here's the secret. The professional is going to use pretty much the same type of calculators that you can get online. The difference is you're going to have to go through probably filling out like a 70-page questionnaire to get all the information to the advisor. And then you're going to have to sit in 2 or 3 meetings that are going to last 1, 2, 3 hours. You're going to go through this big discussion and process. And then at the end of that, you're going to get this huge financial plan, this document that basically is going to give you the same choices. And the problem is we're trapped in this retirement crisis because we've defined the issue as this simple math problem. Because the math is the math when you use a one-dimensional approach. You're going to have to work longer, or you're going to have to start saving a lot more now, which is going to cost your life right now, or you're going to have to settle for less later on. And that's what people go through when they go through traditional retirement planning, that rigid one-dimensional process. So the good news is this worked for your parents because your parents had pensions. They lived a lot shorter lifespan than you're probably going to live. And while in retirement, they sat on the park bench of life. They had a lot less active retirement because they were worn out from work. The bad news is this type of planning doesn't work for you because likely you don't have a pension. And you're going to live significantly longer than your parents did. You could be living 20, 30, 40 years in retirement. That changes that simple math problem significantly. Unlike your parents who sat more on the park bench of life, when I talk to people about retirement, their eyes light up and they look at that not as the park bench, but as their chance to actually live the life that they want. So they're going to be in the playground, which means it's going to cost a lot more. That's why the math doesn't work, and that's why we need to have a new way, more agile way of not just creating a great retirement, but managing our life and our financial life. Over the last 25 years of walking life with clients, helping them make these decisions using the traditional method, after all of that experience of walking with clients and seeing how it didn't connect with them, I developed what's called Agile Retirement Management, which is a more modern, more agile way of creating a great retirement and dealing with this multi-dimensional life that you're trying to live. This form of planning puts the power back in your hands so you can actually be intentional and take little baby steps to creating a life that's meaningful to you and gets you engaged in the process of not just retirement planning, but creating a life that you want. What I use is Agile Retirement Management, and there's 5 basic principles to the ARM system. Number 1 is accepting the unknowable. Accepting that you can't figure out the future. And that's actually a little liberating. It takes a lot of pressure off because you don't have to worry about trying to figure it all out. Everything that you're doing when you're trying to plan a great retirement, whether it's figuring out where the markets are going to go or figuring out where your life is going to lead, all of that is fundamentally unknowable. And rigid retirement planning really focuses on trying to figure it out and put hard numbers on those things and then taking actions on those hard numbers. Agile retirement management, what we do is we just accept that we can't figure it out. We accept that the future is unknowable, whether it's in the markets or in our life, and you have to adjust to that. The second principle of agile retirement management is collaboration. Unlike the rigid method where you dump all of this information onto the professional and they go off and create this massive document, in agile retirement management, it's a collaborative approach where the entire family's in the room along with the professional, and together you work on figuring out the solutions that make the most sense for you. You know the most about your life. The advisor takes the role as a guide to help you frame all of the myriad of choices that you face. And by having everybody in the room, you can spur creativity and actually start to figure out solutions that you can miss when it just becomes a simple math problem. The third principle of agile retirement management is flexibility. It's a process that allows you to identify changes really quickly and respond to them so we don't allow things to veer off course too much. So it's all about being very flexible, very agile in how you manage things so you can adjust as life unfolds. The fourth principle of agile retirement management is prioritization. So let's face it, whether it's your life or your financial life, there are hundreds of things that you need to address over your lifespan, whether it's estate planning, what happens, who does my wife call first when something bad happens, or your asset allocation, or your budget. There's a myriad of things that we have to address over time, and that gets intimidating. How do we do all that? We can't. This principle of agile retirement management is prioritization. There are going to be certain issues that are hotter than others. Most issues can be tabled until they need to be addressed. The key is to identify which ones are the most important that you can take action on right now. The last principle is communication. If we're going to be flexible, if we're going to be collaborative, and we're going to keep prioritizing the things that are most important, we have to have lots of short huddles, as we call them. We have to have lots of short little conversations so we can continue to iterate and take action together. How does this agile retirement management work in action? So take Tom. When Tom and I first started working together, it was a priority for him to retire in 6 years. He loved his job, he felt fulfilled in it, and we were working to retire in 6 years. And then during one of our little conversations, maybe it was a year later, he comes to me and goes, Roger, we had a corporate reorganization. They got me doing something a little bit different, and now the person I report to, I don't like too much. I sort of hate my job. I know I said I wanted to retire in 6 years. I really want to get the heck out of here. What do I do? Because we're using agile retirement management, what we did is we prioritized and we thought creatively about what Tom could do to pivot away from a job that he no longer enjoyed and gain freedom to work and pursue the things that he wants. So what we did is we came up with a solution where he could leave this full-time job that he hated so he can move to part-time work that he accepted he would be doing for a longer period of time, but it was part-time work that he loved, which gave him a couple things. One, it got the pain away from that full-time job. Two, it allowed him to do something part-time that he actually enjoyed doing. And three, it gave him the time freedom to pursue his outside interests. Another example is Mary. Now, Mary was in her late 60s and already retired when the Great Recession hit of 2008. She was living in retirement when the markets in the world started to fall apart. And she was scared, like everybody was. So she came to me and said, Roger, I know we had this plan for this lifestyle. I'm going to guess that's not going to happen anymore. What do we need to do? And what we did, because she came to me early and we worked together on this, is we designed a couple little adjustments to her lifestyle. Rather than travel to Europe, she traveled domestically. We slowed down the spending a little bit. We changed how we were managing cash flow, and we were able to preserve more of her assets by making little adjustments to the portfolio. And as a result, as the markets and the world rebuilt after that Great Recession, we were able to mitigate a lot of the issues and get her right back on track. That's what agile retirement management can do. This is the practical value of agile retirement management. Now, in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to start walking this journey so you can start to take back control, not only over your life today, but over your retirement tomorrow.